This is Farm Journal's Margie Fisher. I'm here with Ken Ferrie, the Farm Journal field agronomist. Ken, 2009 was a challenging year for many farmers. What should be top of mind as they look to make 2010 a success?
You know, one of the things that they're going to have to handle this year that they haven't handled in the past is lots of residue due to the late harvest. Across the country, we finished up the harvest late in November, into December, January. Some will actually be finished in the spring. And that means that there's a lot of residue out there that has not had a chance to break down, whether we're in Minnesota or whether we're in southern Illinois. So we're going to have to manage that residue, and it's going to take some changes in how they manage their nitrogen in the spring to deal with that, so they don't end up with a corn crop that's under nitrogen deficient situation. They're going to have to adjust the planter or outfit the planter to handle this kind of residue in the spring, because we're going to have some real good challenges, or big challenges, on getting the stand that we want when we're dealing with residue that hasn't had 2 or 3 months to break down like it typically does.
And you know, right now we're talking in January. What are some things that farmers need to be doing right now to prepare themselves?
I think thinking through the strategy on especially their nitrogen program. This crop's going to need some nitrogen up front to stay green so we don't burn out and turn yellow. So they're either going to have to think about moving some of their nitrogen, if they aren't, to a surface application, or they're going to have to kick up the nitrogen rate in their starters or their starter application. But for that first 6 to 8 growing stages of the corn crop, we're going to have to get some nitrogen out there to make sure it doesn't turn yellow. I'm afraid we're going to see a lot of tough-looking corn next spring if guys don't think about managing their nitrogen. It's all about paying the carbon penalty, and for a lot of these guys, for the first time, they're going to have to do tillage to incorporate or to bury ruts that they put in the field. And when they have been years of no-till and they do tillage, there's going to be a pretty stiff carbon penalty to pay when we incorporate all that residue that's been laying on the surface.
You also mentioned some mechanical modifications to your planters and outfitting them, especially for the conditions in the coming year. Could you give me an example of what you mean?
Well, it kind of depends on where the grower is coming from. For somebody who hasn't dealt with a lot of residue, they're going to have to deal with row cleaners. They're going to have to manage residue. The colders are going to have to come off. They're going to have to go with just straight residue cleaners. For those that are doing tillage for the first time for a long time, then it's a situation where we've got to take down pressure off of that planter, and we've got to take the colder off of it as well, and learn how to carry that planter lighter than they typically would. So when we're running a planter with a lot of weight on it and we're in no-till or strip-till, we got a lot of options. As soon as you throw that same planter in tillage, it's going to want to sink on you, and you're going to have to start making adjustments.
Thank you, Ken.